She came to her son's grave to say goodbye. But suddenly, a strange woman with a child appeared and told her the truth that made the billionaire's legs give way. What her son had been hiding changed everything. He died, taking his secret with him. A year later, a meeting nobody could have predicted took place at his graveside. The truth Michael had been hiding forever changed his mother's life. A cold morning was slowly waking up over the cemetery. The sun had not yet had time to melt the thick fog that was spreading between the marble slabs like a white veil over the past. The silence was broken only by the walk of broken leaves and the the creak of the gate, which was pushed by a driver in a strict suit. Behind him, a tall woman stepped out of a black Rolls-Royce, stately, with silver hair neatly tied up in a bun. She wore a long ivory coat, bones, gloves, black glasses, and a bouquet of white roses in his hands. It was Evelina Kramer, a billionaire, the owner of an empire, hotels and businesses known all over the world as the Iron Lady. But now, in front of her son's grave, she was not strong nor rich. She was just a mother who had been stripped of a part of her heart. Her heels barely touched the wet ground. With each step seemed to pass through her own memories. The day she was told of the disaster, the night when she saw her son's body in the morgue, and the coffin closed too early to have time to say goodbye. A year has passed, but the pain, I didn't get dulled. She still felt emptiness, like a gaping wound inside. It seemed to her that life had stopped after Michael's death. Everything has lost its meaning. Approaching the grave, Evelina stopped. It was embossed on the marble slab. Michael Kramer, a loving son he left too early. These words seemed like a mockery of fate. She knelt down, laid the flowers, and ran her hand over the cold surface of the stone. Michael, her voice, trembled. Today is exactly 1 year. I still can't believe it. Why did you go to that country? Why didn't you listen to me? She sighed, put her glasses away, and tears slid down her cheeks. Her son was the only one who knew how to make her laugh. After the death of her husband, he became the meaning of her life. And when he died, Evelina's world collapsed. She closed her eyes and whispered, I would give everything, all the money, and you, the authorities, just to hug you again. Tears fell on the marble, when suddenly she heard a soft sound, as if someone was crying nearby. A woman's voice, quiet, broken. Evelina turned. A few steps away from her stood a young woman, about 30 years old, with dark, matted hair. On it was a simple gray dress. In her arms she held a child, a boy of about 2 years old, wrapped in an old blanket. Woman stood at the very fence of Michael's grave and sobbed softly. Evelina frowned. It seemed strange to her that someone was a stranger, crying at her son's grave. She got up and walked slowly. I'm sorry, she said, trying to make her voice sound. Be quiet. Did you know Michael? The woman shuddered, looked up at her. There was so much pain and fright in them that Evelina involuntarily stopped. They were silent for a few seconds. Only the wind stirred the leaves. A child in the arms of a woman woke up, stretched, and whispered softly, Mother! Something in the boy's face seemed familiar to her. Bright eyes, eyebrows, even a look like a reflection of someone she already knew. The woman began with a strong accent. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interfere. I just came to say goodbye. Goodbye. I narrowed my eyes in surprise. With whom? The woman swallowed, pressed the child closer, and replied quietly, With Michael. The name of the son, uttered by someone else's lips, made Evelina turn pale. How did you know him? She asked warily. The woman hesitated, then whispered, I'm from Mexico. We met there. He was a good man, helped me and my family. Evelina frowned. She knew that Michael had traveled extensively in Latin America, working on a project. New hotel, but he never said he was close to anyone. You were his colleague, she clarified cautiously. The woman lowered her eyes. Tears came down her cheeks. No, she replied, barely audible. Evelina recoiled as if she had been hit. What did you say? I am not lying, Signora. The woman spoke hurriedly, feeling incredulous. We loved each other. He wanted to take me with him. To America. We had a ticket. Everything was ready. But our eyes were shut. He didn't have time. Evelina was silent. My thoughts were confused. My heart was pounding wildly. She didn't know whether to believe it or not. Everything seemed ridiculous. And yet, there was something real in the woman's eyes. A grief that could not be played. And this child? Finally, Evelina asked. Looking at the boy, the woman looked up, pursed her lips, and whispered in Spanish, "Esu sujiho." Evelina didn't understand right away, but the next moment a chill came over her. She stepped closer. "This boy," the woman translated. "He is Michael's son." The world around seems to have frozen. The sound of the wind, the creaking of trees, even breathing, became inaudible. Evelina looked at the boy, not believing her eyes. The child had Michael's eyes, the same blue, deep as if reflecting the sky. Her heart ached. Her fingers trembled. "It's impossible," she whispered. The woman shook her head. He wanted to, but did not have time. He died before he could tell. Tears flowed down the Mexican woman's face. She pressed the boy all the time, tighter, as if she was afraid that he would be taken away from her. "I didn't come for the money," she added quickly. "I don't want anything. I just wanted him to know who his father was." Evelina did not answer. She felt the ground disappear under her feet. Everything she believed in was crumbling. If this is true, then somewhere in the world there is a part of her son, his blood, his continuation. She couldn't turn away. The woman took a step back as if she was about to leave, but Evelina stopped her. "Please wait. What is your name?" "Maria and..." "Boy?" "Diego." Evelina pronounced the name quietly, as if tasting its taste. "Diego?" The boy looked at her and suddenly smiled. Such a simple, clean, childish smile. The same one that once illuminated Michael's face, when he was little, took Evelina's breath away. She stepped closer and gently touched the tiny boy's hand. "Michael," she whispered, tears welling up in her eyes again. Maria looked at her warily, ready to leave at any second, but Evelina only shook her head. "Don't go." The fog around began to dissipate. A ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating 3 figures at the grave. A woman, another, a woman and a child between them. 3 destinies connected by 1 loss and 1 blood. Evelina closed her eyes and understood. Life has just changed. She came to the cemetery to say goodbye to her son, but instead she found his legacy. They were sitting in a small cafe opposite the cemetery. Outside the window, the rain was still drizzling, flowing down the cloudy glass in thin streams. The air smelled of coffee, damp earth and sadness. Evelina sat upright, as she was used to. The posture is perfect, the gaze is concentrated. But a storm was raging inside her. Opposite, with her head slightly lowered, sat Maria, and a boy was dozing in her arms. A boy who only in the morning said the word mama and smiled at her, the one who was his father's mother. "Tell me everything," Evelina said at last. From the very beginning, Maria nodded. She spoke quietly, cautiously, as if she was afraid to frighten her memory. Her story was simple and sincere. She worked as a maid at the hotel where Michael stayed on a business trip. At first it was ordinary acquaintance. He smiled, thanked her, and was interested in her family. Then he began to help, paid for the treatment of her patient, brought food, books for her younger brothers. She did not understand why a rich foreigner should be helped by a simple, to a Mexican girl. But Michael said, "You're reminding me what kind of person I'm supposed to be." Over time, between them, a pure feeling arose without promises, without calculation. He rented a small house for them by the sea, came there in the evenings, when he could break out of the negotiations. Maria showed a photo. Michael hugs her. His palm rests on her rounded belly. On the back of the photos is a familiar handwriting for my son Diego. "If I don't come back, tell him I love him." Evelina could not restrain herself. Tears rolled down my cheeks. My hands trembled. She took the photo and pressed it to her chest as if it was the last thing left of Michael. "Why didn't you write to me?" she asked, struggling for words. "Why didn't they find me earlier?" Maria lowered her eyes. "I tried. After his death, I came to the embassy, called the company, but no one believed it. And he's just a poor woman from Mexico City. Everyone thought I was lying for money. I was afraid. I raised my son alone, worked in the laundry. I didn't have the strength to fight you with your power." But today she looked out the window, where the fence of the cemetery was still visible. "Today I just wanted him to know who his father was." Evelina was silent for a long time. Two worlds were fighting in her chest. The world of cold mind, where everything was measured by facts, and the world of the heart, where the memories of the boy she was rocking in her arms lived. She remembered Michael telling her once, "Mom, you're too much in control of my life. Let me live my way." Then she was angry, but now she realized that he just wanted love. Real, non-luxurious, unbought. "He was a good man," she said at last. "Sometimes too soft for, of this world." Maria nodded, smiling through her tears. "He was the best thing that happened to me." They fell silent. Only the boy was quietly sniffling, sleeping in his mother's arms. Evelina looked at him, her heart sinking with tenderness. Michael's features became more and more pronounced. His chin, nose, even a slight curve of the lips. Her son's blood lived in him, his soul. "May I?" she asked quietly. "Can I hold him?" Evelina carefully took the boy in her arms. He stretched, opened his eyes, and, as if feeling a kindred energy, smiled. His hand touched her cheek, warm, soft as a touch of the past. Evelina could not stand it. Quietly, cried. Tears rolled down his face, and for the first time in a year, they were not tears of loss, but tears of life. "Hi, Diego," she whispered. "I'm your grandmother." Maria turned away so as not to show how her lips trembled. For some time they sat in silence, and only the rain drummed on the glass. Then Evelina put the boy back to the material. "You will no longer be alone. I'll take care of you. I will not allow Michael's son to grow up in poverty." "No." Maria shook her head. "I don't want your money. That's not what I came for." "I know," Evelina replied softly, "but I can't just walk away. He is part of my family. You're part of mine. Family." There was silence between them. Maria looked at her with disbelief, then with relief. Her eyes sparkled, but already, not out of fear. "Thank you, Señor," she whispered. "I thought you would drive me away. I thought I didn't have any more son," Evelina answered. "But now I understand that he left me a legacy." She took a small gold coin out of her bag. "Kulong. Inside is a photo of Michael, taken in his 20s. Take it," she said. "May Diego have a memory of him." Maria took the pendant, and her hands trembled. "He was talking about you," she added suddenly. "He said he wanted you to be proud of him." Evelina closed her eyes, unable to hold back her sobs. Years of loneliness, cold receptions, and endless gatherings crumbled to dust. All she ever wanted was for her son to be happy. And now his happiness has left a trace of the little boy who continued his life. "I want you to moved in with me," she said decisively. "My house is too big and too empty. Diego deserves the best." Maria looked up in surprise. "Do you want to go to America?" "Yes, I'll arrange everything. Documents, tickets, everything. I'm not asking for anything in return. Just let me be there." Maria could not answer. "She is," squeezed Evelina's hand, feeling for the first time that someone shared her pain. A few weeks later, all the formalities were settled. In the house, Evelina in California, there was children's laughter, which had not been there for many years. Little Diego ran around the garden, caught soap bubbles, laughed as Michael once laughed. Every evening Evelina sat by the window with a cup of tea, watching Maria sing a lullaby and the boy fall asleep. And each time she whispered, "Thank you, Michael, you didn't leave. You just became a part of this little miracle." One morning, As the sun bathed the house in a soft light, Diego approached her, holding a photo of his father. This is mine. Dad? He asked. Yes, Evelina smiled. He was kind. How are you? Tone in the sky. Yes, but guess what? He sees you every day and is proud of you. The boy pondered. Then he hugged her and said, childishly serious. Then he sees how I love my grandmother. Evelina could not hold back her tears. She held the boy close to her, feeling her heart break. Once with a loss, now it fights again for him. So the pain turned into love, and the loss turned into love. And a billionaire, accustomed to considering everything in numbers, she finally understood. The greatest wealth in life is not power or money. This is the ability to love again, even when it seems that all is lost.